Hey friends, Sean from Draft Therapy here, and on today's review for you, we're going to take a look at this one-hitter. Willettized Coffee Stout is a 12.6% coffee stout aged in rye oak barrels from Lagunitas Brewing Company in Petaluma, California. The second beer in our January cellar dive is a yearly favorite from Lagunitas, the Willettized Coffee Stout. This beer, it seemingly just flies off the shelves. People buy it year after year. This year I actually had to get it during its second release wave, and I only got 2 bottles. Admittedly, I didn't really look that hard, but my point is it doesn't seem to last very long when it does get put out on shelves. This particular bottle, this one, I bought in Florida when I was on vacation in 2017. It survived this long. I think initially I let it age for almost a year, maybe 2 before I tried it, and the first time it still had that big kick of coffee and bourbon. So let's see after almost 6 years if we're still going to get that kick. Let's take a look at the label via the can cam. This week's can cam is brought to you by KFC. At KFC, it's finger licking good. All right, so let's take a look at this bottle. Again, I have the bottle on the side here that I'm going to look at. On the front here, we can see in red lettering, it says Lagunitas 2017 one-hitter series Willettized Coffee Stout aged in rye oak barrels, the Lagunitas Brewing Company in Petaluma, California and Chicago, Illinois. 12.6% alcohol by volume. On the side here, it has the states where there's a deposit, the cash California refund, all that good stuff. On the other side, it's the government warning. There is some wording around the edge, and I'll just read it off real quick. From our friend, the Kentucky distiller J.D. Willett himself, quote, "We have one type of barrel, wood, and we put 2 things in them, rye or bourbon. We scored some of J.D.'s scrutable casks and put one thing in them, beer. The taste tells. It's good to have friends. Let us know what you think," and they have their number, 707-769-4495. Let's put this bottle. I want to show you real quick on the can cam. So this is the 2017 bottle, the 2017 label that we're going to be looking at. And then this is the new one. This is the 2022 label. As you can see, this one says it's the one-hitter series. This one says it's the Woodshop Series. I don't know why that is. I don't know why they changed it up, but they did. Maybe it has something to do with the connotations of a one-hitter. If you don't know what a one-hitter is, ask your parents. Ask your parents. All right, let's go ahead and we're going to get our glass here. It's a little spotty, but it is clean. I can guarantee it's clean. We're going to grab our handy dandy bottle opener. The one thing that we're going to see a lot from this series is the bottle opener. It's all bottles on these. So let's crack it and put a nose on it. Set that out of the way. Put a nose here. Whoa. I am getting a little coffee on the nose. I am getting a lot of whiskey, a lot of oak barrel on the nose as well. You might be able to hear it. My cold has increased since the last time, but I am able to smell this, so it must be pretty good. Let's go ahead and pour this. If we look at it, that's coming out really dark out of the bottle. I mean, there is a bit of it is actually kind of a little see-through in the center there. There's a little bit of a glop at the very end. If we're looking at that, we're looking at about, I'd say generously, about a 3/4 of a finger. We'll just say it's 1 finger ahead. As you can see from the overhead, it's actually hanging on pretty good. It's really nice bubbles, really, really compact, really tight. That's a nice sign to see. If we hold it up to the light here, as I could see it pouring through when it was pouring out, I could kind of see through it. This, as you can see from me, I ain't seeing through that, and you ain't seeing through that either. Can't see nothing except my reflection. What a handsome man I see in the reflection. Let's put a nose on the glass here. Getting right up in there, it is, like I said, there is a little bit of a coffee aroma. There is a big whiskey, a big rye whiskey, like woody aroma. It almost has this slight kind of licorice aroma to it as well. I do have 1 bottle of this left, so I'm going to show that. I don't know why I'm showing that, but I do have 1 bottle left. That's how I was reading that description for y'all. But let's go ahead and try this one out. Cheers. We always talk about the mouthfeel first. Number one thing we talk about, the mouthfeel. The mouthfeel on this is actually, it's not super thick. As you could see from the pour, it was a little bit transparent. There was a little bit of a see-through kind of deal going on there. It's not super heavy. It's not super light. It's just got like a medium-bodied mouthfeel. Not, I guess what I would expect from a regular stout. Not anything to really write home about, but it's definitely got a nice body to it. It's not super thin. It's not watery. It wasn't as light as the color looked when I poured it to me. I don't know how easily you could see it. It doesn't have that really light of a mouthfeel like I would kind of expect. Now, as I mentioned before, when I first tried this, after like a year of it aging, it had this really massive like coffee kick, this really massive whiskey kick to it. It's very boozy. At this point, it's a lot more subdued than that. What I get is I do get a nice chocolatey coffee flavor. It's not overwhelming. It seems like it's very much tamed down since I had it, you know, all those years back. I've had it since a couple times, and I had a 6-pack, and I have this now. I have one left, but I had, you know, what's that, 4 in the intervening time, and they've all been really kind of subtle. They've really kind of really matured very well. At first, like I said, even after a year or two, I think it was a year, it was really kicking in that front coffee, that front whiskey, boozy kind of flavor. At this point, the coffee is actually still there, which I'm surprised. Maple and coffee are 2 flavors in stouts, especially barrel-aged stouts, that seem like they age and they kind of drop off the flavor. But with this one, I still am getting a little bit of coffee on it. There's a nice kind of sweet, there's a coffee up front, and it subsides into this nice kind of sweet chocolate. It's almost like a sweetened coffee. It's not overpoweringly bitter coffee. There's not really much bitterness throughout this entire thing until the swallow. On the swallow, there's a bit of a booziness, a bit of that whiskey, boozy, woodsy kind of characteristic, and then after that swallow, you start to get that bitterness that kind of hangs on, it clings to your tongue. At this point, it's a really nice, like, merging of the chocolate, of the coffee, well, the coffee and the chocolate and the whiskey, and then you get that little bit of that woodsy kind of bitterness, the whiskey kind of bitterness, the alcohol kind of bite to it. But even though there is that alcohol bite to it, it's not overpowering. It's just a really nice, smooth sipper. I know I haven't been sipping it. What I say this was 12.6%. 12.6%, this is super smooth. It is stark contrast in comparison to what I remember the first time having this. Again, after a year or two of it aging, it was at a friend's house, and I was like, I haven't tried this yet, let's crack into it. And I had it, and it was like so just like, oh my God, I couldn't even fathom what it would be like fresh. I think at this point, being, again, almost 6 years old, I don't know when, if there's even a bottle date on this, but it has such a nice, smooth characteristic at this point. It is something that I could find myself, I would, much like the black note doesn't seem like it changed much. I talked about that in the last video. This one seems like it's really settled down. It's like a lab, right? A Labrador Retriever dog. Like, they're really hyper at the beginning, and as they get kind of older, they start to kind of mellow out. They start to kind of be a little bit more easygoing, but at first they're just hot and heavy, and that's what this beer was for me originally. At this point now, it seems like it's very much smoothed out, gotten a lot more subtle, you know, just very smooth in general. I'm really curious to see, aging this even more, how much more it will change. So I'm going to hang on to this for a while, probably compare it to one of those 2022 bottles that I showed a little bit earlier. But this one, if you know somebody, this is like premium. This is a really nice aged stout. I would drink this every day of the week. It is so smooth. It doesn't feel super strong. It's not something that would knock you out. Again, it is, what, 12.6%, but it really drinks so much lighter than that. It's just a treat to be able to try a beer at this age and have it be this good after so long. All right, friends, that's been a cellar dive to the 2017 Lagunitas Willettized Coffee Stout. Is this a good year for this beer? Have you had it before? Do you think there are better years of this beer? Again, this is the only time I've ever tried it. So if you have any opinions on that, or if you know why they changed this from the one-hitter series to the Woodshop series, let me know in the comments down below. While you're down there, if you like beer, you might want to subscribe and click that bell, because I'm here talking about beer twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays. It's all for free for viewers just like you, and you might miss your newest favorite if you're not subscribed and getting those notifications. You might miss some of these really cool cellared beers that I have on hand. Hopefully a few more that'll be pretty good. So until next time, I'm Sean from Draft Therapy. Thanks for stopping by. Remember, drink craft beer, support your local breweries wherever they are. These guys are in Petaluma, California, and Chicago, Illinois. And until next time, don't forget to treat yourself to a little draft therapy. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time for the next installment of the Cellar Dive. Cheers.